we're going to see it, the House, we're going to lose the House, and it will be a bloodbath. And we will have earned it because of the lack of productive work fulfilling the conservative agenda. What Nancy Pelosi did, and I vehemently disagree on everything, she was ruthless. And she knew that the speaker's gavel was temporary and that at any moment it could be gone. And so they shoved through the most progressive ideological policies known to man on this earth. They shoved that through and got it to Biden's desk to be signed. And we don't have that same thing. We get elected and we get scared of losing the election. So we moderate to the left, trying to keep independents and moderates. But I don't think we understand as a party that conservatives can win. I mean, Donald Trump won in a landslide on a massive conservative agenda.
All right, South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. We already talked about hair for 3 minutes. You want to just do that on camera, or should we talk politics?
About my hair loss and when you recommend I do, sure.
Yes, we both have struggled with some alopecia stuff. We'll get you right. The hair looks great, though.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here in D.C. I come from Florida. It's freezing here. Everyone's complaining about politics. But you've got a smile on your face. What's going on?
Oh, no,
is that a South Carolina smile?
Yeah, it is. It's a Southern smile.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this place is frustrating because I wrote about this in the New York Times recently about the lack of, I think, productivity. Only about 5% of bills that have been filed so far this year have passed out of the House. And if you look numerically, so far this year, the president has signed about 57 pieces of legislation into law. Great start. If you look at the previous administration and the productivity of the leadership, both in the House and the Senate, of the last 4 years, we're behind, significantly behind. And a number of us, at least in the House, once your bills do get passed out of the House, only about 5% so far this year, they then get stuck in the Senate. Like I have a bill right now that passed out of the House almost a year ago, and it was to deport the most violent illegal aliens in the country, the rapists, the murderers, the pedophiles. And it is part of the president's agenda to get those bad folks out of our country. Got out of the House, sits in the Senate, doesn't go anywhere. And so it's like, what are we doing if we're not fulfilling the president's agenda?
So since that sort of is the theme amongst everyone that I'm talking about, so like a bill like that, like what is the hang up? I mean,
It's a great bill. It's one of the, it was one of 12 bills in the House, original House rules package, the first package that came out of the House when the president got elected. So I'm confused by the holdup, why there are people that want to hold up the president's agenda, that want to hold up and not codify President Trump's executive orders. This is some of the best work we've done. We have the opportunity of a lifetime. We're about to see a bloodbath in the House, which means we're going to be completely neutered a year from now and not be able to get a conservative Trump agenda out of the House in a year. We may or may not keep the Senate. So to me, we have a historic time, a historic moment and opportunity ahead of us.
So
we're stifling it.
So I assume you want the Republicans to go ahead with the nuclear option and just do what they've got to do right now because you see no way around a big loss coming in November?
We're going to see it, the House, we're going to lose the House, and it will be a bloodbath. And we will have earned it because of the lack of productive work fulfilling the conservative agenda. What Nancy Pelosi did, and I vehemently disagree on everything, she was ruthless. And she knew that the speaker's gavel was temporary and that at any moment it could be gone. And so they shoved through the most progressive ideological policies known to man on this earth. They shoved that through and got it to Biden's desk to be signed. And we don't have that same thing. We get elected and we get scared of losing the election. So we moderate to the left, trying to keep independents and moderates. But I don't think we understand as a party that conservatives can win. I mean, Donald Trump won in a landslide on a massive conservative agenda.
So what do you think Mike Johnson's missing there then? Because I assume you don't think it's Trump that's not leading properly on this.
Oh, the president's doing phenomenal. I mean, this is the best president in my lifetime in history. He's been phenomenal so far. And it's not just the House. It's also the Senate. I believe that Senate leadership, I mean, they can just sit there for months or years on end and not do anything. And oftentimes they do. They're the, quote, deliberative body. but they're also the least productive. And they've taken the purse strings from the House also. So I am frustrated by what I see going on here because we have the opportunity of a lifetime and we're squandering it. We're better than this.
What should we know about South Carolina that we don't know? I feel like South Carolina is probably, it's like in those few states that somehow we don't talk about nationally. Maybe that's good, actually, but we don't talk much about South Carolina.
Our nickname is the Palmetto State.
Yeah.
And we've got about just over 5.5 million people. We're actually the fastest growing state in the country by
right?
population. So everybody from New York, California, Ohio, they're all moving to South Carolina unless they went to Austin, Texas first or Miami, Florida, because Florida's about to be full.
Cali to Miami, right
yeah,
here.
so after Florida fills up, they're going to come to South Carolina. We have great weather.
Yeah.
We have great golf. We have great food and bev. We have a great, beautiful state. I mean, our beaches are lined with gold. We have beautiful oak trees. We have conservation matters. So you see a lot of parks and a lot of greenery and a lot of historic areas, and so it's a beautiful state where my family is from and has been there for a very long time. We're very fast growing, but also, we're a Republican-run state, but we've been taken over by some of the woke ideology that we see in our schools. I mean, I've exposed, like, at one point we had a college university that had like a 15 gender form, and male and female weren't two of the options. And so I called the president of the college, I left the message, I recorded it, put it on X. Within 3 hours, it was taken down, because sometimes that's just the way you have to operate. If you write a strongly worded letter, nothing happens. We also have one of the highest state income tax rates in the Southeast at 6.2 to 6%-ish. And I've got a plan to reduce that to zero. But our state needs to become a little more competitive. And I look forward to trying to make that happen for the state of South Carolina.
Do you sense in general that the states are just going to keep going their separate ways, that federalism will sort of be the saving grace of everything here, that if the federal government just gets too big, or if the blue states continue to
It's
just
already too big. What do you mean just gets too big?
It continues, I said. But yeah, and that if the blue states just continue to go down that path, that the states will just, yes, we will be the United States of America, but we're just going to just do things very, very differently, and that's okay.
Well, that's what federalism is, right? Every state is different. So states do have certain inalienable rights to protect their way of life and the way that they operate and do business. But there is a balance. I mean, if the president says we're deporting illegal aliens, you don't get the right to say no to that, because that's a federal issue, and there's supremacy, federal supremacy.
So what would you like when a guy like Mamdani, who's not even sworn in yet, is already saying we're not going to work with ICE, or I think Pritzker has said, they're not going to work with ICE, or certainly
defund those cities and those states. If you're a blue city, a blue mayor, a blue governor, and you aren't following federal law, we shouldn't give you a dime.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
Are there do you know even, are there criminal charges that can you prosecute them at that point too? Because it is, as I understand it, they actually are breaking federal law.
I'm sure that like the oversight committee could refer criminal charges to DOJ, but I think, and no one's going to prosecute over that, let's be honest.
Right.
But the power is in the money. The power is in the purse strings. The power in the way that we can manage that kind of illegal behavior is by taking the money away. You want to bankrupt your state? Go for it. Do it on your own dime, but you're not doing it on the federal government's time.
Guys, if you're dealing with joint pain, stiffness, or just not bouncing back like you used to, you've got to hear this. There's this fitness tool originally designed for NASA astronauts called the Juvent Micro Impact Platform. Unlike those jarring high-impact machines, the Juvent uses gentle, natural vibrations to activate your body's healing response. It helps ease chronic pain, improve circulation, and boost joint health. You just stand on it for 10 to 20 minutes a day while you watch this show, or you have your morning coffee. That's it. It's completely safe, made right here in the USA, and backed by millions in research and clinical studies. So if you've been dealing with pain or fatigue, check out juvent.com/Rubin. That's JUVENT.com/Rubin, and use code Rubin to save $300 on your next Juvent. There's a 6-week money-back guarantee, so you've got nothing to lose, except maybe your pain.
What do you want Trump to do that he hasn't done so far? Because I'm with you. I don't know. There seems to be this weird message.
What hasn't he done? He's done like everything.
Well, it's interesting because there's a sort of low-level depression I'm seeing on the right now. And it's like, man, the guy's doing everything possible. I don't, and with an incredible cabinet, Doesn't mean everything's perfect.
I don't think he could do anything more. I mean, he's literally, I wake up every day and I just thank God for Donald Trump because he's doing everything we asked him to do. My biggest beef.
Would you like deportations to be faster? I mean,
he's doing it though. I mean, he's doing, but there's some things that some governors could do. We could follow the lead of Governor DeSantis, for example, and use facilities. Like I know in South Carolina, I've identified over 400 bed spaces at different facilities where we could help increase if we had the capacity, the ICE agents, because he needs to hire more. I mean, that's a product of he's only been in office for a year, but there are things that governors could do, mayors could do. The governor of South Carolina could deputize local agents, local deputies to help ICE. I mean, there are different things we all could do at the state and local level to help the president. I don't think he's doing everything perfectly, doing everything right. But it's other people and other leadership, whether it's leadership in the Senate and the House, governors, mayors, et cetera. There's more that we all could be doing to support his agenda. An example that President Trump was caught on the hot mic last week, he was lamenting that his temporarily appointed attorney generals were going to expire. And so he would not have the attorney generals that he has handpicked for those positions because they haven't been confirmed. Well, that off the top of the list is like, why aren't we doing that right now? So I see the machine is slowing him down. And that's where I think the problem is for us, particularly in the midterms. We're about to run out of time. March 1st, April 1st gets here. We're out of time.
I know it's the easiest thing to ask, but what do you make of what's going on the other side of the aisle? Like, what is happening with this Democrat Party?
It's absolutely sheer lunacy. And I think that there is a real mental illness on the left side of the aisle. That's the only way I can explain some of the behavior that's happening. So I'm a member who gets out there. I'm pretty public. I'm pretty brazen. I don't have a filter, which sometimes gets me in a little bit of trouble. You do have
your viral moments,
but it's not on purpose. I don't understand social nuances as better as other people, and so I will just say things that are from my heart and they're honest. And I think that's really lacking. I think sometimes people think too hard about it. But the left side of the aisle, I do believe that there is a lot of mental illness within the Democrat Party. That's the only way I can explain some of the transgender ideology. You're so pro-woman, you want to take away women's rights. You're so pro-underage girls, you want a man in the bathroom with them, in the shower next to them in the locker room. You're so pro-woman, you want men and women's sports. And anybody that wants to castrate a kid because that's what he feels like that day because you fed him some kind of nasty ideology or sent them to a trans drag show when they were in kindergarten and now they're mentally just crazy. But that is normal. That's not normal. Yeah. And just the other day, yesterday, we saw Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and the FBI announce that they thwarted a terrorist attack from a pro-Palestinian group, Turtle something, in California. And these people are running around with things on their head, Palestinian, pro-Hamas crap that looks like they're supposed to be in Gaza or in Iraq or Iran. These are are they domestic terrorists now? That's the thing. It's crazy to me. Well, how do you explain it?
No, I think mental disorder is right. I actually say that on my show all the time. It was nice to hear you say it because most politicians won't go that far. But I don't
think it's going far. Yeah. I think that's what I'm seeing. Yeah. I mean, and especially when you look at people, most of my family is conservative, but we got a few that didn't vote for the president. And I'm like, man, you really got TDS. You have Trump derangement syndrome. And those family members, they don't come to Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner anymore. That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah. Well, Trump derangement syndrome, I actually believe will be looked at as a mental condition.
It's a real illness. Yeah. I think there's a MDS. I do think there's Mace derangement syndrome also, by the way. Yeah. So.
All right. So just paint me the positive vision of some way that this doesn't end horribly next November and then Trump ends up lame duck and then we hand this thing to Gavin Newsom. Give me some positive vision
if we
of
all
of
a sudden triple the amount of work we're doing up here on the Hill, we can pull it off. But it's going to take courage, and it's going to take not being afraid of moderates or the left or independents. Now, what the party doesn't realize, and I come from a very independent district, And as a conservative, I won in 2020 by 1 point. And 4 years later, last year, a year ago, I won by 18 points. I took my district from a +1 R to a +18 R. And it wasn't because of redistricting. My district only got 1 point better 2 years ago. It was because of the way that I work hard and the way that I'm very honest and the way that I talk about issues. I won a blue county that Kamala Harris won by 11 points. I also won, obviously by a much smaller margin in the portion that I had it. And I'm someone who's been very vocal, very outspoken on conservative issues, on women's issues. And what people don't realize is that independents are with us. Independents are with Donald Trump. They overwhelmingly voted for him in the election. And we don't need to be afraid of our own shadow. If we're honest, we work hard, deliver on Trump's agenda, we're going to win overwhelmingly. It's what he just did the impossible. And we're ignoring his successes to the detriment and what could be a huge failure. But if we follow his lead, there's nothing that can stop us.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
If you're craving more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics, check out our politics playlist right here. And if you don't want to miss any future videos, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Hi guys, I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report. It is December 18th, 2025. It's our last live show of the year. That's right, we're pre-taping tomorrow. We have about 20 episodes during the Christmas break, although I do hope that you will take some time to be with friends and family and celebrate the season and all that good stuff. But yes, we are wrapping it up until January 5th. You know, the way the calendar worked out related to New Year's and the holidays and everything, it's quite an extended break. I will miss you guys. I will also enjoy the break. And we've got my folks coming down and my brother and his kids and my sister and her kids. It's going to be a lot of family stuff, but we've got a jam-packed show to leave you with today. Quick reminder, guys, if you have not been over to daverubin.store, it is full of holiday cheer. And my guess is if you order today is the last chance you're going to get anything before Christmas and during the last few days of Hanukkah over here. And okay, let's just dive right in. And as a holiday gift to you guys, you know, I believe the 10 out of 10 is impossible. I'm going for a 9-7 today. We shall see what happens. There's a little good news and bad news to start the show, which is that my friend and incredible American patriot, Dan Bongino, is stepping down as Deputy Director of the FBI. That's sort of the bad news. And the good news is that he will, although it's unclear when yet, he will be returning to his radio show and podcast, which was one of the biggest and has been severely, severely missed. Let me read the tweet from my friend Dan. I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America and those who defend her. Before I share a couple thoughts on that, let me read this tweet by Kash Patel. Dan is the best partner I could have asked for in helping restore this FBI. He brought critical reforms to make the organization more efficient, led the successful summer heat operation, served as the people's voice for transparency, and delivered major breakthroughs in long unsolved cases like the pipe bomb investigation. And that's only a small part of the work he went about every single day delivering for America. He not only completed his mission, he far exceeded it. We will miss him, but I'm thankful he accepted the call to serve. Our country is better and safer for it. Before I throw to a little commentary from the president on Dan Bongino, I've said this many times. I said this when he took the job. I'm sure I said it before that, having known Dan for years and done work together as we did with Locals and Rumble and everything else. Dan is one of the best people that I've met doing this. He is an absolute straight shooter. For him to jump in to a government job was it's not easy for anyone to do it, right? You're going to get hit every which way. Well, certainly if you're a Republican, the media is going to go after you and all of the horrible things they're going to say about you and your family and everything else. But Dan also stepped away from, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the #1 streaming news show in the country. He will go back to that. I just texted him to ask if he could maybe break some news here and tell us when he's going back. I haven't heard back yet. I guess he's a little busy today, but if anything happens on the fly, I will read it to you. But he stepped away, and it's interesting because he also stepped away in a time when we've needed more Dan Bonginos, right? You know, if you look at the last year, it was about a year ago that Dennis Prager took that spill, and he's been largely MIA. And as you know, he's paralyzed beneath his neck. He's doing a little bit of talking now, but he's pretty much MIA. Charlie Kirk, less than 4 months ago, assassinated, obviously. Jordan Peterson has been quite ill since August. So we lost three major players, major sane voices, majorly good men on our side of the aisle, as we've seen some really bad hysterical voices rise. And, you know, I've definitely felt it's been more incumbent on me to fill that gap to whatever extent I can. I think other people have done it in their own way. I would put Ben Shapiro probably on the top of that. But it will be good to have Dan back. And, you know, I saw a lot of people, even on our side of the aisle, as Dan had his tenure at the FBI, were very critical of him. And he didn't get everything done the second we wanted it done and all that stuff. And it's like, that's not really how everything works. We will find out more, whatever he's able to tell us about the process of being at the FBI and everything else. But I do suspect, and from we only had one phone conversation while he was deputy director over there, and he was telling me that he can't share a lot of things, but he was saying, we're cleaning things out here. It takes time, but that's not the stuff that makes headlines, right? So I do believe what Cash said there, that he has done a great job, and here's Donald Trump on that.
Oh, Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I don't think it's much more than that. I don't think there's a scandal here. I'm sure that there'll be stupid articles written in, say, Vanity Fair or the usual places. But like, I think Dan just misses his show. He misses being an incredible voice for freedom and America and liberty and all of the good things. And when you think about it, you know, we are rolling into our 250th birthday for America, right? We're rolling into these midterms that everybody at conventional wisdom at the moment is that they are not going to go well. We will see. But there's time now, right? If he jumps back in, let's say in January, we get another major force for good on the airwaves to push back against the bad stuff. And by the way, it's not an easy job. None of these jobs are easy. You know, Trump makes everything look easy. He takes hit after hit after hit and is never depressed, never really shows any vulnerability or anything else. But that's not how most people are. And here's a guy, Dan Bongino, who, you know, he's as tough as nails, you know, but he does show some emotion sometimes. You may remember this from May of 25. Here he is explaining the sacrifice that he had to make, but pointing out that he is not a victim for making that sacrifice.
I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment. But I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean, separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other, and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out the FBI. You're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
You know, the reason I'm showing you that moment is because you don't get that kind of honesty, like serious, like, here's what I'm struggling with right now as I took this big job. Right, and remember, not only did he have a huge show, the guy's got a ton of money, right? He was one of the founders of Rumble. He's done all sorts of things. Like, he did not have to do this. And just think about some of the other people that have gotten involved in the government. You know, David Sachs, who I think is a billionaire, who's heading up crypto and AI. He didn't have to do this. Like, I've known him for a long time. He's got plenty of money and several gorgeous houses and, you know, all these things. Bobby Kennedy didn't have to do this. Dr. Oz, a ton of money, didn't have to do this. I mean, many other people that have, Elon Musk spending, 20 hours a day in DC while doing Doge. So Trump was able to bring in great people, and all of them will sort of have their turn, but it'll be really, really good to have Dan back on the airwaves and in the fight. I thought this was interesting. This is journalist John Solomon on with Eric Boiling, talking about some of the stuff that Dan did do that, it doesn't make the headlines.
He wanted to get the January 6th pipe bomb investigation done and some other things. He wanted to get the ship righted. But, he had a burgeoning radio empire that had to be put on hold, and that's never a good thing for your business. So I think he did the job that Kash Patel and the president asked him to do. Get the organization uprighted, get rid of the bad eggs, at least some of the bad eggs or many of the bad eggs, solve some of these lingering issues like the January 6th case, and then go back to your job if you want to. And I think history will look back and say it was short, but we got a lot done in that time frame.
Yeah, that kind of feels like Elon at Doge. It was short. They did a whole bunch of stuff. They saved us all a bunch of money. They uncovered some fraud. Elon then started going back to his real businesses and his real passions. And it seems to me that's what Dan probably did here. And, you know, cleaning things up, firing people and rearranging the chain of command and all of those things like that doesn't make headlines. Like, how many times did I cover that in the last year? It's like, it's just not, first off, you don't see it all. It's not all fully exposed and transparent and everything else. But there's every reason to believe that Dan did a hell of a job there. And I hope to whatever extent he will be able to talk about that stuff when he's gone. Obviously, he can't talk about everything he did there. But I hope he will lay out some of that stuff, because I saw a lot of people, some people that I respect, going after him for not doing everything we wanted the second we wanted him to do it, and not doing everything he could the second we wanted about the Epstein files or this or that and the other thing. And it's like, he took care of the January 6th thing. He cleaned up the insides of this place, and we will see. And Trump still got 3 more years. So if he brings in somebody good and Cash keeps doing good work, then I think we will be just fine. One place that is not fine is Minneapolis. They have a representative named Ilhan Omar, who's a wildly anti-American lunatic. She went on Wolf Blitzer's program on CNN, and apparently she's made up a story that her son was pulled over by ICE. Now, her son is, well, I was about to say her son is a legal immigrant to the United States, but A, who the hell knows? And her mom did marry her brother for immigration purposes, so I'm not sure how that affects the kid, but I assume he was born here in the United States. The point is, here she is, she's a bullshit artist. Wolf is an idiot. Watch.
You've said that federal immigration agents actually pulled over your son on Saturday and asked him to prove his citizenship. He is, of course, a U.S. citizen, as are you. The Department of Homeland Security says, and I'm quoting them, ICE has absolutely zero record of its officers or agents pulling over Congresswoman Omar's son, and have accused you of seeking to, quote, demonize ICE as part of a PR stunt, their words. What do you say to that?
Well, if ICE is saying that they have documentation of every single person that they have pulled over in Minneapolis, we would love to see that record, because we've certainly, myself and the governor, have been asking them to share information with us on the ways in which they have interacted with Minnesotans, and they have not been able to provide a single information. So it is amazing that they're able to put out this statement saying definitely that they did not pull my son over, when they haven't been able to answer anything else.
Have you noticed that her accent is getting a little more guttural as she smiles through all her lies? Like, there's something weird going on there. Now, interestingly, it does turn out her son was born in the United States. So regardless of the fact that she married her brother, here's the birth certificate. Everyone knows it at this point, like, and they're just pretending it's not happening. So even though she married her brother, apparently her son was born in the United States. But notice she never denied it. She never denied that they made it up, right? Wolf was like, did this happen? She never said, oh no. Also interesting was what Wolf said there. He, meaning the son, he is a U.S. citizen, as are you. Why did you say that, Wolf? That seems very strange, to say that a sitting congresswoman is a U.S. citizen. That's kind of implied. So why would you say that, Wolf, unless you're doing your job at CNN, which is laundering the lies, because she broke federal immigration law, and we will deal with that. Okay, let's continue with Miss Omar. Here she is telling us how wonderful Somalis are.
Oh, we are doctors, we are teachers, we are entrepreneurs, and we are elected representatives of our state. And so these vile comments and this sort of creepy obsession that that he has on me and Somali Americans really is dangerous, and it's beneath the office of the president.
Okay. You know my feelings on collectivism. You don't just blame an entire group for everything, but you have to be able to broadly talk about things. And there are certain groups with certain beliefs that do not assimilate, that ask more from the government, that demand other people not live the way they wish to live, etc. But she says that Somalis are doctors. Well, Joseph over here went on Grok, that is an AI system developed by Elon Musk, and he asked how many doctors in the U.S. are Somali. Well, the answer is the percentage of Somali doctors in the U.S. is significantly lower than 0.3%, the average for physicians overall. A reasonable estimate, given the data, is 0.05% or less, potentially closer to 0.01 or 0.03 for practicing physicians. So you get that? There's 0.3% of people in the United States are physicians. It is significantly less for Somalis. Now that's just fine. Somalis don't have to be doctors, but she's up there. We're doctors, right? And it's like, no, you're doctors at a way less fraction, at a fraction of what other Americans are. Interestingly, Joseph went a step further. You were really feeling, because we're giving the Christmas bonuses today. Clever, clever, clever bird. He also asked Grok how many Somalis in Somalia are doctors. And in Somalia, approximately 0.0023% of people in Somalia are doctors. They don't even have many doctors over there. So if you've got so many of them over here in Minnesota, lady, send a couple over there. But the broader point, the reason this thing around Somalis has popped up is because of a lack of assimilation, demanding that the state give them a bunch of stuff, and then open and brazen by her and many other people demanding that America do more for Somalia. Look at this. This is an image of a graph showing that 81% of Somalis in Minnesota are on welfare compared to 21% of American families. I mean, the fact that 21% of American families are on some form of welfare, that's a tragedy right there, and we should focus on that. But 81% of the Somalis, like, you guys need more doctors, it sounds like to me. But there's so much confusion about all of this because people don't want to be politically incorrect. We all want to fall on the sword, no pun intended, in a weird way. And here is Florida Congresswoman. She's just terrible. She used to head up the DNC. This woman has got to go. Somebody run against her, please. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She went on News Nation on Leland Vitter's show. I just interviewed him. It'll be up in a couple of days. And he asked her what the biggest threat to America is. And watch this dance.
What is the bigger threat to America right now, American values, American life? Islamophobia or jihad?
I think we have to focus, quite frankly, on, if we're worried about the threat to American values, on the person who's in the White House. I mean, we have a president.
Oh, come on. Really?
No,
is that where we're going? Come on.
Yeah, I'm going there because we have a president who has completely undermined our democracy, who has.
So you don't see jihad. You don't see this as a problem.
What I don't see is it as a single lens problem. We have a president who has been determined to undermine our constitutional principles, to degrade our democracy.
You know, there's an idea out there that all Jews are smart. That's something that people say. She happens to be Jewish. And people say Jews are smart. By and large, Jews are smart. And Jews are way overrepresented when it comes to doctors and lawyers and scientists and all sorts of things. Generally, Jews are smart. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a case of Jews can also be retarded. You don't get that many retarded Jews, as far as I know. We'll check. Can you check the numbers? How many, ask Rock, how many Jews are retarded? And I guarantee a picture of Debbie Wasserman Schultz is going to show up. Look, the idea that Donald Trump is a bigger threat to democracy than radical Islam is absurd at the highest levels. That she would say that he's completely undermined democracy. You know what undermined democracy for 4 years? When we had a guy with dementia who was not president pretending to be president while an auto pen decided what was really going on, and we still don't know who is in charge of the auto pen, and they let about 20 million illegals into the country. That is a bigger threat to democracy than Donald Trump, you ridiculous person. My friend Jordan Peterson, who also is MIA at the moment, unfortunately, he was on Piers Morgan a couple months ago talking about this issue, that there are many Muslim majority countries and most of them are not great for people. So when you come here, perhaps enjoy the fruits of what our ancestors fought for and gave us.
40 out of 50 Muslim majority countries in the world are authoritarian hellholes, and only 3 of them are democracies. And that's Morocco, Indonesia, and Turkey. And, you know, they're not, I wouldn't put them in the highest echelons of stellar states. And so why is that exactly? Is that a deviation from Islamic principles, or is it a consequence of them? That the fundamental danger from Islamic fundamentalism is going to come from Europe and the UK and not from the Arab states. There's a serious conversation to be had in the West, and particularly in the UK, maybe France and Germany in secondary place, about just exactly how it is that liberal Western democracies, with their emphasis on the rights of women, can live side by side with Islam in general, especially the sort of Islam that's transformed into enabling fundamentalism that allows this sort of criminality on the part of the psychopathic, resentful psychopathic sadists.
Man, do we need that guy back? I mean, when I tell you that, we lost Charlie, we haven't had Jordan around, Dennis has been largely MIA, and then Bongino was taken off the chessboard for doing, the right thing by serving his nation. I mean, we need all of these guys back, especially in this vitally, vitally important year. But of course, he's laying out just basic stuff, right? Which is that in these Islamic nations, it's basically not good for anyone except the most totalitarian, worst type of person, right? These are kingdoms that are run by people who are ultra wealthy, who subjugate everybody else. There's virtually no religious minorities in any of these nations anymore. And by the way, there are a few exceptions in the Gulf states, mostly the United Arab Emirates, and the countries that have now come across with the Abraham Accords are a little bit better because capitalism and freedom is the liquid that goes throughout the system that then people start trading more and thinking more and knowing more, and then ancient hatreds start disappearing. That the version of that we have in America is that a huge amount of people, and I would put Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and others right at the square center of that, which is they come here and they decide to bring all of the bad ideas from their countries into our place. We did check on Grok, and it turns out that under 1% of Jews are retarded, but perhaps we could take them because also Ashkenazi Jews have the highest IQ scores. So what if we took a few retarded Ashkenazi Jews and sent them to be doctors in Somalia? Can you look into this for me? We'll pick that up next year. AOC, who's another one of these clowns when you're talking about the Rashidas and the Ilhans. This is wild. Look at this. Newswire. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez leads J.D. Vance 51-49 in a hypothetical 28 poll. And she wrote bloop. That was her retweet of that. Bloop. I don't know, is that like a thing that people are saying now? Bloop. That is deeply, deeply depressing. She's sort of she's in some sense even more perfect than Mendami because she's pretty, she's a girl, she's never accomplished anything. She goes on Instagram and says stupid shit that goes viral. Like, it's nothing. Do you want to be governed by people who are just little LARPing theater kids with all of the wrong ideas who will usher in the destruction of the country? Or would you prefer Donald Trump or some other Republican? You'll have to decide. She was asked about that poll yesterday.
Reaction, or do you think that you could beat J.D. Vance in a head-to-head race for president, as polling suggests, in 2028?
Listen, these polls, like 3 years out, are, they are what they are. But let the record show, I would stomp him.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
And that's it right there, right? Like, she's good for television, right? She knows exactly what she is doing. And the fact that New York City just elected a guy who's a communist, who's jihad adjacent, who's never accomplished anything, missed more than 50% of his votes while he was in the New York State legislature, has all of the wrong ideas, but he knows how to do what she just did right there. Quick edits, a lot of smiling, he can dance a little bit, and a bunch of sort of SEAL people. I want more fish, free buses, okay, yay. Yeah, here's one more with AOC. Sorry, we're really drunk. I'm just getting this shit out of my system for the end of the year. Here's one more of AOC going after Elon.
Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is not an engineer. He is a billionaire con man. This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
AOC is saying that Elon Musk is unintelligent, that he's smart, that he's not smart, that he's adult, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Elon tweeted this. AOC pretends to have a brain and it's not working. Now that's a little glib. I think we can go a little more highbrow than that. How about this? I thought this was quite good. This is from Yara, the next commentator. Larry, it's just a list of like the most brilliant people on the planet talking about Elon. Elon is this is Larry Page. Elon is one of the people who genuinely understands physics and applies it. Sergey Brin. Elon is someone who thinks extremely deeply about hard technical problems. Eric Schmidt. Elon is extremely smart. He thinks about problems at a fundamental physics level. Lan Yikun, he's a very smart guy. I'm in awe of some of his projects. Jeff Dean. Elon Musk is extremely capable technically. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Elon Musk understands engineering at a level that most CEOs do not. I mean, the idea that she can dismiss him to he's just a businessman, as if somehow you could become as successful as him and be an idiot. Like, then everyone would be doing it, right? You'd be doing it, AOC. You'd actually be creating something instead of endlessly trying to destroy things. The guy is digging tunnels under Los Angeles right now while he is sending rockets to Mars, while he's working on Neuralink, which has paraplegics and quadriplegics playing chess with their minds happening right now. He's automating the robots. The Tesla is still years and years in more advanced than any other car on the market. We're going to have the Optimus robot by the end of this coming year. It's just like, you guys hate people that create. That's the great, there's the divide of like, there are sort of people who can take care of themselves and people who can't. And the Democrats kind of want people who can't. Then you become dependent on the state. But then there's just the divide between people who create and people who destroy. And she's a destroyer. They cannot build anything. They can destroy things. And what they hate most is people that build. And by the way, that's also why there's a fundamental reason that people generally on the right who are builders are happier. You become happy when you're doing something with purpose. Remember that clip we showed you from a week or so ago with Adam Carolla talking about how a physical problem becomes a spiritual problem? That we're supposed to be out there, tillers of the soil. We're supposed to be building things, doing things, learning how things work. And instead we've been put in little cubicles and staring at this thing all day. And then that physical problem becomes a spiritual problem. But I'm going a little off the beaten path right now. So let's talk about Noble Gold for just a moment, and then we will have more on the other side. Guys, gold has officially gone mainstream. Every day, more and more Americans are discovering the buying power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it and invest in a simple way? Well, that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Their specialists are trained to help investors like you going from confused to confident. Whether you're looking to roll over an old 401k into a gold IRA or want physical coins and bars delivered right to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple, secure, and stress-free. You'll get step-by-step guidance, transparent pricing, and a US-based service from a trusted team that's handled over $2.5 billion in precious metal transactions. With Noble Gold Investments, protecting and growing your wealth isn't just their job, it's their commitment. Visit DaveRubinGold.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. That's DaveRubinGold.com. Noble Gold, helping you build a stronger future. Speaking of a stronger future, gas prices are going down. Listen to this in Las Vegas.
You might be doing a double take at some gas stations around town. Regular gas for less than $3 a gallon. That's what we found at the Quick Trip on Losi.
It's not as painful at the pump.
It's always nice to have cheaper prices, but
So, as an Uber driver, this helps me save a tremendous amount of money. With the prices what they are right now, I could probably save roughly about $60 a week. That's what I think I'm doing right now.
And
that's an extra $60. I got 9 children, so $60 go a long way.
Arco on South Jones, Costco's and Sam's Club, and some Murphy Express stations are in the top 10 list of cheapest gas prices in town on GasBuddy.com. AAA says gas is the lowest it's been in 4 years.
Did that guy say he's got 9 children? How old was that guy? God bless him. I'm sure he's an amazing person. I'm not making fun. He's working hard. Seems like a decent guy. But 9 kids? Holy sheep shit. I mean, we got 2 kids over here. It's exhausting. You got 9? Damn, bro. Last night, Donald Trump gave what seemed like a kind of impromptu speech out of nowhere, talking about a lot of good things that are happening right now, including the gas prices going down. So I want to show you, we're going to show you this a little bit backwards. You'll see why. So first, here is Jen Psaki, who is apparently a journalist over at MS Now. That's a thing. Here she is. She's fact-checking Trump's speech, particularly as it pertains to gas prices, and then we'll fact check her. Watch.
Trump also claimed that he's brought gas prices down to $1.99 a gallon. The national average for a gallon of gasoline was $3.11 when Trump took office. The national average today per AAA is $2.91. That is just a little taste and flavor, and I'm sure you all have your own lists at home.
Jen, you ignorant slut. Here's what he actually said.
On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon.
Yeah, did you catch that? So he said in much of the country, it's under $2.50, and there are some places where it's just hit $1.99. He didn't say it's $1.99 across the board. But the fact that they're still willing to do that. Look what you made me do to my notes. Look at this. Look at this. Here, I'm going to sign this. We're going to send this to somebody. Somebody's getting a little something extra. There you go. Like, lady, you have no shame. I know you have no shame. You have no shame whatsoever. Anyway, you know, I mentioned that when I was in D.C. earlier this week, and we're going to release all of these interviews with senators and congressmen and everything else as we're all trying to wrap up the bills that, you know, basically get the government funded for a bit and get them to go to Christmas break, which they're all very interested in doing. One of the things that consistently came up, particularly related to affordability, is everyone was saying to me, once the big beautiful bill kicks in, which it'll kick in this 2026, and people see the tax breaks they're getting, they see some of the deregulation stuff, they see sort of it moving throughout the economy, then it's going to make the economic picture look a lot better. Also, it's going to stop some of the skyrocketing healthcare premiums that really, in effect, are because of Obamacare and the fact that the Democrats have been demanding that we put illegals on the dole constantly. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson on what we will see because of the big beautiful bill and how it relates to healthcare.
Healthcare bill that will bring down the cost of healthcare. The Lower Premiums for All Americans Act does exactly what the title suggests. It will reduce premiums for all Americans by, on average, at least 11% overall. And that's just the beginning. There will be much more to come. More ideas in the first part of next year to bring down the cost of health care. And what the bill did in addition to that tonight is it increases the quality of care, the access to care. It gives persons more options, more flexibility in their health care. And also it adds transparency. We had the PBM, Pharmacy Benefit Manager transparency piece to it as well. Now contrast that with the Democrats' COVID-era subsidy that they wanted to extend. That would only impact 7% of Americans. The bill we just passed impacts 100% of Americans. Their version would impact 7% of Americans, and it would cost taxpayers $350 billion. That is not the way to reduce the cost of health care.
Okay, so look, I don't think you should just believe a politician because they said something, but what he just said right there, in essence, was that everyone's health care is going to go down about 11%. So let's pick this up in the new year when you start seeing your receipts. Let's see what happens. I would also say, you know, one of the great things that now I think is spoken of probably a little too, we don't speak about it enough, really, is the Maha thing moving over to MAGA, that more and more people are taking care of themselves in a new way. And you can do it pretty easily. When I open up my freaking Instagram at this point, because I'm interested in those things, how to eat right, how to work out properly, what are the supplements that people my age are taking, blah, 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 blah. You can start just simply seeing little things so that you will take care of yourself a little bit better, and then you will be less dependent on that system. So if you're on the left, now I know the left thinks that taking care of yourself makes you a white supremacist, you're saying, but if you're on the left and you don't like the Republicans and you don't like what they're doing with healthcare, well, then take care of yourself a little bit more. That's not to say that horrible things don't happen. You get hit by a car and blah, blah. And if you're on the right and you don't want the government involved in everything, you still, for a different set of reasons, you should still take a little bit better care of yourself. But anyway, okay, so 11% healthcare premiums going down. That's what Mike Johnson just said right there. And here's Scott Bessent talking about a rebate that should be hitting your mailbox pretty soon.
Maria, let's go back. The one big beautiful bill was passed on July 4th, but for working Americans, it was retroactive to the beginning of the year. Most taxpayers did not change their withholding, so as a result, we're going to see very substantial 100 to 150 billion of refunds in the first quarter go directly to Americans' pockets. So the sooner they file, the sooner they'll get them. Our estimate is it could be 1,000, 2,000 per household, depending on the number of workers.
Okay, so 100 to 150 billion that will go back to people, and most people could use $1,000. Most people could use $2,000. The point of all of this, the reason I'm showing you this really, is to show that a lot of the things that Trump did. Look, he had major wins this year that we can obviously see. Like the border, for example. Like it's an obvious win that you can see, and you don't have to secretly open up TikTok to be like, oh my God, they're flooding the border again. Like we know that he's done a great job there. What they're doing now, and I think they're really going to push on it for the next 10 months to get us up to those midterms, 11 months or so, is going to be the economy. They are going to do everything possible to bring housing prices down, to bring tax down, to get rid of regulation, to just make it so that the liquid of the economy, right, is going to be more liquid-like. They did some other things yesterday as they're wrapping it up in D.C. Listen to this from Eric Daughtry. Breaking: the U.S. House just passed legislation to criminalize transgender sex transitions of minors, including surgeries, puberty blockers, and hormone therapy. It was a 216 to 211 vote, and now heads to the Senate, which will then hopefully codify a Trump executive order. 207 Democrats voted to castrate kids. 4 GOP no's, and if he had to get it to Trump's desk, it's common sense. The 4 Republicans, by the way, who voted no on this thing: Evans from Colorado, Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania, Kennedy, Utah, and Lawler from New York. Don't worry about the Democrats. Well, you know what? Speaking of the Democrats, here's one of the Democrats who's not into it. This kid, he's a kid, little punk. Maxwell Frost from the Orlando area. This is the guy who, when I did my Don't Burn This Country book tour and we did the final show at the height of Don't Say Gay, which I don't know whatever happened with that thing, in Florida. I did the show in Orlando. So in Orlando, Disney country, in Florida, last stop on the book tour, bringing Ron DeSantis on stage with me. And this child, Maxwell Frost, was amongst the people who interrupted the show and stormed the stage and everything else. So he's into free speech when he wants it, but he'll gladly use it to shut down other people. Anyway, he became a congressman somehow, and here he is, and he just wants to chop kids' dicks off.
Under this bill, doctors and parents will spend 10 years in prison for saving kids' lives. If trans kids need care, they should have the freedom to get it, and their parents and doctors should not be jailed for it. And it amazes me that Republican politicians can't think of any better use for the power of the federal government than to bully transgender kids in bathrooms and schools, and now they want to be inside of their doctors' offices.
Dude, I hope you become a big Democrat star, and you probably will, because as far as I can tell, you're totally unqualified. You're wrong on all the issues, but you've got the correct skin color for their intersectional calculator, and you stand up straight, and that's pretty much all that they need. Although if you were disabled, I guess they'd be even more into you. But keep going with this. If that's the future of the Democrat Party you want, and you live in Florida of all places, and you're going with this, it's utterly absurd. Chemically castrating kids and giving them hormones that stop their natural body processes while they are young, while their brains are not, well, you guys get it. I don't even want to belabor the point anymore. Here's Nancy Mace kind of smacking him around a little bit.
Shameful is castrating a kid. Shameful is chopping off the breasts of an underage girl. And that is what the Democrats are doing today. It is obscene. It is disgusting. You're seeing in real time Democrats wanting and defending grooming of children.
Yeah, pretty basic stuff. And hopefully 2025 will be the final culmination of the absurdity around all of this gender stuff. It probably won't be, but maybe for sane people, we can start putting it behind us. Of course, it's not just the gender stuff. I mean, every single policy of the Democrat Party at this point is radical and crazy, and they seemingly have no brakes on the bus. And speaking of buses, let's go to New York City, where the communist jihadist Zorhan Mamdani, there I said his real name to end the year, I said it correctly. Zorhan, as you know, is going to give free buses. Why is he giving free buses? Well, because he thinks everything should be free, even though nothing's free, but also because he wants less bus drivers to be assaulted. Here, listen to the logic.
We made 5 bus routes free in New York City. When we made those bus routes free after a year, assaults on bus drivers dropped by 38.9%.
On the bus drivers?
On the bus drivers. Because unlike the train, the act of fare collection on the bus happens on the bus.
Yeah. It's their job,
And bus drivers and unions have shared anecdotally that about 50% of assaults happen around the fare box. So when you eliminate the fare box, you make for a safer experience for the bus driver, for everyone on the bus.
Yeah. All right, I promise this is the last time I'm saying retard for the year. He's a retard. And the reason for that is, okay, first off, nothing is actually free. You get that part. 50% of the assaults happen around the box, but now you've made the buses. So let's pretend that's true, meaning that half of the assaults that are happening on buses are happening because somebody's fiddling with their change, or they don't have the proper card, or they don't have any money at all, and then you just decide to punch the bus driver. Let's pretend that that's right. I'll go with that for just a second. That means another 50% is still happening in the back of the bus, right? That's where the people are, and there's still 50% of the assaults happening there. Well, now, buddy, you just made the buses free, so you know what's going to happen? Those buses are going to be way more crowded, and you know what also is going to happen? Those buses are going to be crowded with homeless people and meth addicts and everything else, because you know what? Can I get the temperature in New York City right now? It's pretty cold in that part of the world for at least half the year. So when it's cold, they're going to get for free on your nice warm buses, and they're going to be pissing and shitting and raping and pillaging and all of that stuff. It's 45 degrees right now. So the average homeless person, do you think he's going to just want to sit on the corner and just freeze to death? Or do you think he's going to hop on the bus and molest the girl next to him? I know what I would do. Also, Trevor, no, it's just, he's so dim. He's so dim. I thought this was interesting. Speaking of New York City, this was going crazy viral. So this couple moves to New York City just within the last few days, and they're TikTokers, or everyone's a TikToker now. So they set up a camera to do a video about what it's been like to move to New York City. And yes, you can already guess what happens.
It's week 1 of living in New York City. We just moved here from California, so we do not have proper winter clothes. We literally had to buy this jacket and this beanie, and he's been wearing snow gloves every single day. If you're from the Northeast and you have recommendations on where to shop,
You get the out of the county!
all right, well,
That's New York, is it? New York, get your peeps.
welcome to New York, I guess.
As I always say, good luck with all of that. They left communist Cali to go to what is going to become the worst crime-ridden hellhole in all of the country, New York City. And I know Portland wants and Seattle wants to keep the title, and San Francisco, but like, it's coming New York City. How great is it? So they're doing he just literally had to buy a jacket. And then steal the phone, crazy person screaming. It's just perfect. Speaking of perfection, I thought this was just great. The White House has put up a new wall of fame in the Rose Garden. Take a look. You can see some pictures of former presidents. You've got Bill Clinton, a man who once sodomized an intern with a cigar while on the phone with then Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott. You've got Barack Hussein Obama over there, and then you've got an auto pen. But if you read the inscriptions beneath, I thought this was pretty good. Under Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history. Biden let in 21 million people from all over the world to pour into the United States, including from prisons, jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. Nicknamed both Sleepy and Crooked, Joe Biden was dominated by his radical left handlers. Now for Bill Clinton. As president, Clinton signed crime and welfare legislation, which was passed with the leadership of Republicans in Congress. He approved NAFTA, which President Donald J. Trump would later terminate as being bad for the United States. And Barack Obama? As president, he passed the highly ineffective Unaffordable Care Act, resulting in his party losing control of both houses of Congress. He presided over a stagnant economy, approved the terrible Iran nuclear deal, and signed the one-sided Paris Climate Accords, both of which were later terminated by President Donald J. Trump. Under Obama, the ISIS caliphate spread across the Middle East, Libya collapsed into chaos, and Russia invaded and took Crimea in Ukraine. I mean, Trump, as if he's not busy enough, he's writing those things himself, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, here's Trump finishing up his great speech last night.
Again, very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
I have to say, guys, look, I know a lot of people are very black-pilled on the midterms, but I'm not going to go in black-pilled. We're going to have to fight like crazy. But everything Trump said there is right. Like, the world does respect us again. We have wrapped up wars. We've already illustrated on this show that there's going to be ways that the economy will be loosened up again. Yes, we have massive problems, and now there seems to be a sort of worldwide kinetic jihad that's sort of everywhere, and we have better defenses in America than most of Europe and all of those things. But like, we are back. And this is as good as it's going to get. So we all better get involved in 26. And I also think, because it is the 250th anniversary of our country, that there will be an inherent sort of built-in return to patriotism. And we have to take advantage of that, because the entire leftist operation is so radically against patriotism. And it's radically against the founding of this country. So it's an easy win for everybody. Well, for all of us, if we run with that. Guys, let's talk about Masa chips for a moment, and then we'll finish up with the locals community Q&A. Have you ever looked at the ingredients on a regular bag of chips? There's seed oils, MSG, artificial dyes, and natural flavors that don't sound like food at all. Masa is different. They're part of a movement to bring snacks back to real food, the kind our grandparents ate. Masa chips are made with just 3 ingredients: organic, nixtamalized corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. No seed oils, no mystery chemicals, just real food. And they don't just skip the bad stuff, they taste amazing. Masa chips leave you feeling satisfied and energized without the crash, bloat, or sluggish feeling you get from regular chips. And if you love Masa, you'll love Vandy Crisps. Masa's sister brand makes incredible 3-ingredient potato chips cooked in beef tallow. Ready to give Masa or Vandy a try? Use code Rubin for 25% off your first order at masachips.com or vandycrisps.com. Or click the link in the description or scan the QR code to claim this offer. Not in the mood to order online? Masa and Vandy are now available nationwide at Sprouts, so grab a couple bags next time you're there. All right, let's finish up our last live show of the year with some RubinReport.locals.com community questions. Glenn says, what was your favorite Christmas gift you got as a kid and your favorite in your adult years? So my favorite Hanukkah gift growing up, I remember where I got this. We were at my Aunt Naomi's house, and my dad had a friend, a colleague that he worked with that lived in Portland and was friends with somebody over at the Trailblazers organization, and Clyde Drexler was my favorite player who signed this. This ball was used, so I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, I got this in 10th grade. This ball was used in a Blazers practice. That was the year that they went to the finals. Unfortunately, lost to Michael Jordan. That was the shrug game, man. I cried during that. That was 6 threes in the first half, 35 points. It was nuts. But this ball was used in a practice, and so I think that was my favorite gift as a kid. As an adult, I don't ask, I'm still, sorry guys, I'm still a little under the weather here. I don't ask for anything, and I don't really want much of anything. I don't know. David got me a pair of sweatpants the other night. That was pretty good. Like some nice sweatpants from Viore, with that little side pocket. That's pretty, I don't want anything. I'm happy. It's all good. Let's see. Rapsack says, hey Dave, this may sound a bit off kilter, but can't the House and the Senate pass a bill that says the government cannot be shut down by either Republicans or Democrats? I don't think so. Well, Joseph's given me a little info here. My gut feeling is I don't think so. It's about funding. I don't think they could just, let's see what he says. This is from Grok? Yeah, this is from Grok. Congress cannot permanently guarantee that the government will never shut down because the Constitution requires appropriations. Money cannot be spent unless Congress authorizes it. So that's really what the fight is always about during all the government shutdowns is, are we going to fund the government or not? And in essence, they have to. So there's just kind of no way around it. Jess says, Trump is getting a lot done, but only by executive order. Why do you think the Republicans have done zero to pass these things through Congress? So, well, we just referenced one that did, right? The trans thing just got codified by Congress. So that is good. I will say that I think it was a dozen interviews I did, which again are coming out over the next couple of days, almost everybody that I sat down with brought up that point, that there is an inherent danger in what is going on here. Congress has been so calcified and broken for so long that so little gets done there that we basically outsource legislation to the president. So when it's Biden, it's an auto pen, but when it's Trump, it's a regular pen. But then everything they do can just be reversed by the next president. So that's obviously not good. So they now, I mean, today's Thursday. I mean, they're all going home basically today and tomorrow. There's a slew of things that Trump has done by executive action that they should be pushing to get through Congress ASAP. I don't know how many will, but that tells you more about Congress than it tells you about Trump. Vinay says, hey, Dave, are you going to have a turkey curry this Christmas for a change? Just the one. That does look pretty good, actually. That's a turkey curry right there. I've got my parents are coming in. My sister's here with her 3 kids in Miami. My brother's coming in with their 3 kids. I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking, but you know me. There's going to be a lot of great steaks, and I'm going to bust out the big green egg, and I'm going to try to do a brisket. I'm going to get whatever the biggest brisket I can get is, I don't know, 16, 18 pounds, probably cook it for like 20 hours. I kid you not. I get up in the middle of the night, make sure it's nice and moist. So that's probably a little more my way. But we did have some great Indian food last week, actually. So a turkey curry does seem all right to me. Colorado says, why has retard? I blew it. I said that was the last time I was going to say retard. Now I just said it again. Now I said it again. Why has retard been so controversial, but no one ever bats an eye at idiot, moron, and imbecile? You know, that imbecile is a good word. You know, that is a good question. This is why getting hung up on a word is so silly, right? There are words. We can all think of certain words that you're not supposed to say, but a word only has meaning if you give it meaning. So I could be walking down the street, someone would be like, you faggot. It's like, oh my God. That person thinks I'm a bundle of sticks. Like, that's crazy. Like, but even if they meant it in the most pejorative way, it's like, it's a word. Who cares? You know, it really is. Like, I'm much more interested in fighting back bad ideas than policing people's words per se. All right, Chris, but imbecile. I'm going to start saying imbecile. You know what? I'm done with retard. That's it. It was a word of 25. We brought it back. It's great. Everybody's happy. We're going to go heavy on imbecile in 26. Christine says, what is your best memory of 2025? I mean, it's definitely something with the kids. Like, we took them to a light night at the local park here, and it was awesome. That was like a week ago. But in terms of the show and that sort of stuff, I'll tell you, when we were in Australia on the last night, and we were there for like 12 days together, and the team is just so great, and we have a blast, and we went out every night, and we're drinking and eating great food and everything. And on the last night, I was told in the morning that we had a dinner, like some sort of event that we had to go to, like it was just going to be like a kind of standard stodgy dinner. And they surprised me. And I was told it was vegan. That was when I knew something. I should have known something was wrong. They told me we were going to this vegan dinner for something. Anyway, we get downstairs at the lobby of the hotel, and Phoenix says to me, hey, Dave, we just want to thank you for everything you've done for us for these 2 weeks, and it's been so great, blah, blah, blah. And the guys all took me out, and they found the fanciest steak joint that we could find in Brisbane, and we just had a great night, and it was, it's nice that it's a two-way adventure that we're doing together. Oh, I thought that was the last question, but we're going to talk about boner pills and then a couple more. Guys, let's be honest. When it comes to performance, good enough isn't good enough. That's why Blue Chew just raised the bar with Blue Chew Gold, a 4-in-1 upgrade designed to support both your mind and your body. Most options only focus on circulation. Blue Chew Gold goes further by combining 2 circulation-supporting ingredients with apomorphine and oxytocin to help enhance arousal, desire, and connection. It's not just about function anymore, it's about total performance. Blue Chew's tablet dissolves under your tongue and can begin working in as little as 15 minutes, meaning less waiting and more confidence. Blue Chew is basically turning bedroom performance into an Olympic sport, so go for gold. And ladies, if you're listening, send your man the link and turn him into a trophy husband. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code Rubin. That's promo code Rubin. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. All right, a couple more questions. Jeff says, do you think there's any possibility of illegals in Minnesota organizing an armed resistance to immigration enforcement? That's AI. Everyone settle down. Yes, I do. I think partly what we are up against now is that the Democrats have become so radicalized. They so only believe in the law when it suits them. They so have made a point of saying you can be violent against your political opponents. They have literally elected a leader in New York City who's saying he's going to break federal law by not cooperating with ICE. Ilhan Omar is saying it. Jacob Frey, the mayor over there, is saying it. That at what point, when you've seen Antifa and Trantifa and you see Hamas supporters on streets in Western countries, at what point would they not literally have militias in the streets that will be fighting with ICE? So, and my guess is we are going to see more of that. I mean, I think the big... Look, I'm you know me, I'm not a black pill guy, and I'm definitely a glasses half full guy, but I always consider myself a world weary optimist, right? Like, I'm not just like this pie in the sky optimist. The world is tough, man. And hopefully you can make things a little bit better, but I think you have to be an optimist, or at least do what I do, because otherwise how the hell would I do this every day, right? Like, I would basically, you'd all be suicidal. It wouldn't be that fun. But it would not surprise me if we do have more kinetic terrorism, the types of things that happened in Australia and that are happening across Europe, that we know we have bad people here with bad intentions. You know, we had that kid Luigi Mangione who shot the United Healthcare CEO out of nowhere. We had the Charlie Kirk death. There was the shooting at Brown, which we're still not finding out about, which there's all sorts of crazy rumors flying online. I won't even address it right now. So there's just a lot of stuff we're going to have to deal with. But we're strong, and we are rolling into 250, and we've got a good president, and we have good people in this country, and we are an armed nation, and we were born in revolution, and I do think we're going to be okay. All right, last one. This is it. Hunting Man says, what Christmas movie do you plan on watching with the family over the break? So David's tradition has been, he loves A Christmas Story, loves it, and basically will have that on repeat all day long on Christmas. Put some of those others up. I've mentioned many times, my personal favorite is Christmas Vacation. It is absolutely peak Chevy Chase. What year did that come out? Probably around 90, I'm going to guess around 92, something like that. And it's just Chevy at his absolute best. 89, wow, even before that. We will watch Die Hard, which, yes, as I've said many times, it is a Christmas movie. They're at a Christmas party at Nakatomi Tower. The Santa Claus, pretty decent. Pretty decent. And Home Alone we will definitely watch, and I think we'll probably get the kids to watch that. I think that's friendly for a 3-year-old with Norm and what's the other guy's name? Marv and Norm. Harry and Marv. Who's Norm? Different movie. Guys, I do want to say, as this is our last show, so look, we've pre-taped a bunch of stuff. I mentioned all of those interviews, so there'll be a lot of stuff coming up, but as I said, enjoy yourselves, friends, family, food, the spirit of the season, all that good stuff. Once again, this was our, to me, our season really starts in September and ends in July, because I do the off the grid thing, but since this is the end of the traditional calendar year and Christmas rolling into New Year's and everything else, I just want to thank everybody for watching. We just knocked it out of the park. We'll get to review the numbers this year come January when everything finally comes in. But I've seen, the blue sky version of it, and this was probably our biggest year ever, which can be tough when we're not in an election year. But on a personal note, it's been unbelievably rewarding being in this fight with you guys and the guys in the studio and everything else. So I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy New Year. Do we do the winter solstice and all that stuff already? All that stuff. Just enjoy yourselves. Thank you guys for watching. And more. We'll be back on January 5th. 2026. Oh, no post-game show because I got a lot to do today. All right, thanks guys. Love you.